Welcome back to The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky the Third. We completed another Moon Door last time, which means we're more than halfway done with Moon Doors. And yeah, that one was one of my favourites. And we also have Shara with us, as we did before. And this time we're going to be heading back to the fourth plane to explore the final trial on this floor. But first, we're going to kit out Shara's augmented equipment and talk about how she works in battle, because I didn't get a chance to do that last time, and the Moon Door is not a great indicator of how Shara works, because she's quite a bit older since then. So, Sherazade Harvey is kind of meant to be a hybrid physical attacker and magic attacker. If you look at her augments, she has mostly a single line with only one outsider quartz, just like Kevin. Her actual ATS stat itself is not super high though, so I feel like her damage output is never as good as Chloe or Olivier, even though she has access to very good female-exclusive ATS boosting equipment. But Shara, I feel, is a very underrated party member by some sectors, because they just look at her and only see that and don't realise the main draw of her, and that's Heaven's Kiss. Heaven's Kiss, you saw the Doppel version of her use that in that boss fight. It pushes everybody in an area, which is usually all three other party members, instantly up to the top of the turn order. And that is absolutely ridiculous. It is one of the best crafts in the entire game, and Shara is worth using for that alone. It's so good that I often see this on endgame setups. Another thing about it as well is that you can use, say, Reese to keep Shara charged up with CP so she can always have Heaven's Kiss on hand. Or at least we would if Reese wasn't off mad at Kevin right now. You might also notice if you played SC that Shara has a new craft, Foxtail. I'll talk a little bit about how that works once we actually get into the next dungeon, because firstly, I need to set her all, but oh yeah, she has 2 restricted wind slots, which is both a blessing and a curse. I mean, they can be filled with scent, which is actually pretty good for getting a lot of different arts on Shara, but other than that, I don't really like wind arts in general in this game. I've said before that wind arts, kind of to compensate for many of them having large areas, they're good early in the game, but in this one, you can get access to much stronger arts early, so you don't really need them as an early crutch, and to compensate for their areas, most of them are very weak. They do often give you access to better versions of other arts though, like for example La Fort as opposed to Fort requires a little bit of wind, so having a little bit of wind is good, but 2 restricted wind slots I feel is a little bit too much. Okay, yeah, so that's the thing, when you're at this point in Sky the Third, setting up your party takes quite a while, but yeah, Kevin, I think I've got him with basically the same setup that I had on him before, because I want to try using Dark Matter EX a bit more. Joshua is similar to how he was before, but no more detection, since where we're going I don't think there's a mini-map. Shara, I've set her up, interestingly, mostly because I want access to something. Here we go, yeah. With 12 fire, I can get Cyclone Napalm. Now, 90 EP is pretty expensive at this point. That's with the best EP cut quartz I have, by the way. But it is, later on in the game, this is the best single-target magical DPS in the game. And that, we'll be seeing this a lot later on, so I kind of wanted to show this off a little bit here. I also have access to White Gehenna, which is kind of nice. Her overall ATS, though, is not super high right now. I have 1 Crimson Eye on her. I also have the Fool's Emblem, just because I want to show that off in combination with Heaven's Kiss. Joshua has pretty much the same equipment he had before. Kevin now has the Solar Seal back. And I bring Tita, because I need Tita to catch up in terms of levels to the rest of the party, because very soon, she's going to get her ridiculous upgrade, and I definitely want to use her after she gets that. So I'm bringing her along here. Also, you know, she was concerned about Agate, and by process of elimination, Agate is very likely to be the next person we rescue, so yeah, bring her along here. And 1,762 strength is pretty dang high for how low her level is compared to everyone else. So, yeah, Tita's definitely pretty good in this game, even without the massive buff that she gets, but, oh boy, when she gets that massive buff, you'll see. You'll all see. Everyone will see. So with that, yeah, there's nothing left to do but to head out to the 4th plane. And we have to go back to the lodge once more. I actually do feel like I may need to grind for Seepeth soon though, because I really feel like I need more EP Cut 4 and EP 4. Definitely feel like we're starting to get to the point where I'm feeling the lack of those, and I need those on a lot of people, because we definitely need some very, very high tier arts on our side at this point. But now, let's go to Grimcell Fortress and relive our traumatic memories of getting beaten up by Kurt in SC's prologue. Now this is one fancy looking training facility. It's a real maze inside. I can still remember what a major pain it was getting through it to this day. There's even rooms which have no lighting whatsoever, and I'm sure you can imagine how dangerous those are. Oh boy, Shara, you have no idea. In this run, the dark rooms are going to be the bane of my existence, and I'll explain why a little bit later. Can't wait to see what kind of traps we bump into inside then. Anyway, as far as I can tell, this should be our final ordeal on this plane. Let's get this done. Right. Nothing from Tita? Really? Okay, and as I said before, the dungeon themes in the 4th plane are all amazing, so get ready for another banger. And we are getting rid of that music now, unfortunately. Oh, I forgot to drink from the spring, too. But we have werebats now. So first it was wolfmen and ratmen, and then birdmen, and now it's Batman. Yep, that's all I'll say about that for now. Let's see, they're way to Mirage, but I guess I can still use time arts on them. Yeah, Dark Matter EX is a really big area on it, which is pretty cool. And it also sucks things in. Oh, Tita's doing a lot of damage, though. Oh yeah, speaking of things being expensive in turns of EP, these guys can drain said EP. Wonder Wave, I believe, inflicts confusion. Yeah, Tita's doing more than that. No, Hellgate's not doing much. But watch this. I don't normally use Dark Matter EX this early, so this is kind of been like, it's something that I really like about Sky the Third is it actually does give you a lot of options. And speaking of options, I am actually going to go ahead and set my support to Josette. Yeah, I did go over Annalise's support ability earlier. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, as you can see, those enemies drop quite a lot of time, Seepeth. And also, I believe the Ratmen in this room, they can potentially be slime lumps. So if you want to farm for those, this is a pretty good time. Now I'm concerned whether I should have gone the other way first. Yeah, this guy is distracted by those boxes for some reason. I should not have, I should have waited until now to use my S-Break. However, I have a solution for this. Swing Witches! Any food with tomatoes in it is something that you want to eat a lot of in the Trail series. Oh hey, I can actually give Joshua a 10% strength up turn 2. Yeah, there we go, I had a feeling that would one-shot everything. So you can keep walking back and forth to respawn that enemy and just farm the slime lumps that way. This is another one of the easiest slime lump farming locations in the game, in my opinion. Okay, I feel like I may have missed out. Okay, no, this is the way I should have gone first. So now we have Pow On! But as I was saying before, Trails in the Sky the Third gives you a lot of options, and like I was saying earlier that pretty much everybody is viable to an extent in this game. Like, even Josette can be made very strong with the right combination of equipment and accessories. Like, I keep saying that she's bad, but she's not, like, the worst thing ever. She's just bad in comparison to everyone else who's all varying degrees of good to amazing. What I'm trying to say is, like, this game gives you a lot of freedom to experiment with party combinations, different characters, different quartz, different abilities. It really is a game where you can just go all out with everything. It's kind of like the last hurrah for the Skycast, but it is also, I feel, the best evolution of the Sky gameplay out of all three Sky games. Which makes sense as the last one, but I just feel like Sky FC and SC, they had a lot of issues. It was their first time trying this battle system, and so, yeah, there was a lot of stuff in those games that wasn't great. Like, in particular, magical attacks were just way better than physical attacks. And like here you've got the higher elements being active for most battles. You've got access to being able to level up your slots to level 3 from the beginning. Yeah, this I believe would not have worked unless we turned on the power, so I'm glad I went this way first. You have access to the entire party from the Sky games, and all of the weaker ones have been buffed, and all of the strong ones have stayed strong. It's just, like again, it's just another one of those. It's a really, really fun game to experiment with, is what I'm trying to say. And I hope you're all starting to see how I feel about this. And at the same time, it's also got a really great story. I know that a lot of the story in this game can be like a bit alienating if you haven't played Sky FC and SC, but I do genuinely think that Kevin's "there is no greater void than the one between your ears." Okay, yeah, apparently that chest is calling Kevin an idiot, but no, that Kevin's standalone story is fantastic, and Kevin himself is a really great character. And we're about to see that. Yeah, this only gets better. So I really hope you stay along for the ride, because this is just such a great game, and I'm really, really having a lot of fun showing it off. And I'm not having fun getting lost in here, because I've definitely not found the right path. I need an ID card. Okay, Kevin's decently close to leveling up. I was wondering whether I'd need to use an EP charge on him, because there's no, oh right, we can go through here now. That's what I was missing. There's no, just wait for you to turn around. There's no stone monument in here. Wow, Shera actually ran out of all of her EP, exactly. But yeah, there's no stone monument in here, so, like, until the very end. So, if I want to restore my EP, I'm going to have to basically erase all my progress and run back to the start of this dungeon. Which is something that I would like to avoid doing if I can help it. Wow, that just, oh, 17. One of these days I'm going to see an enemy survive with only 1 HP left. And that's going to be a sounds weird for me to say that's going to be a good day, but it might be.
That's that. Let's move out.
Oh, and of course, the other thing that I absolutely love about Sky the Third is the music. The music is just so amazing. Yep, there's the ID card I needed. We tell you to have a barrel of fun, but come on, we don't call them treasure barrels. Can you even, like, I feel like Cold Steel might have some barrels that you can break. Actually, while I'm here, I should probably try and go for another set of slime lumps, just because I can. I never realized those rats actually just lie over on their back when they're hit with fate. That's pretty funny. Oh, that's why Tita's having a bit of trouble. I don't have the long barrel EX on her. Although at this point, the regular long barrels are a little better in terms of actual range. Yeah, I can get 2 more EP cut 4s. I definitely want to do that. Ah, and that gets Joshua Death Scream. We're back, and I also opened up a lot more slots on Shera's Augment, so she now has way more EP. That's going to be a huge help going forward. speaking of going forward, let's use that card key. Pretty sure I've been everywhere on this floor. So these gates were kind of a gimmick of this place back in Sky SC. Huh? Something wrong, Shara? You could say that, yeah. The layout of this building seems to be pretty different from how it was when I was last there. I was just about to talk about this. The layout of this dungeon has completely changed though, which is something that I really liked. Even though it's technically a reused location, it's basically a new dungeon, and you'll especially see that once we get to the higher floors. Really? Yeah, the placement of the rooms and the corridors, everything. It's possible that it was remodeled after I used it though. Well, the sealed area's layout was completely different from the real ones too. It wouldn't be the first time this has happened. Probably something our foes did intentionally too. Exactly, we'll have to be very careful. So yeah, not only does this place have new music, it also has a completely new layout. So yeah, it's really not a reused dungeon from SC at all, and I really like that. And yeah, here is the new gimmick that I was alluding to. We have these switches. You can turn them from red to green, and it'll make these passageways active or deactivated. Things get a little more involved as we go further in, though. We get the Juggernaut! Yeah, I won't say that full quote. I should move to a palace. That way I could be a court chester! Is the Juggernaut... Okay, so I have the Iron Bow currently. Oh, that increases ATS, yep. Sorry, goodbye Iron Bow. As much sentimental significance as it has, this is way better. Oh boy, yeah, I knew these guys showed up as random encounters a bit later, and they are a little bit of a pain since they can confuse you. And they also still have like the same amount of health they had when they were bosses, so they actually are a bit of a pain. They thankfully don't show up in large numbers, but they're still a pain to deal with. Probably should be dual striking, but yeah. And there's Seal. Okay, it's less of a pain. Okay, good. Kevin levels up. Of course, I went back outside and healed, so he doesn't really get to benefit from that full HP and EP refill. Yeah, so right here, they're just running you through the basics of how these work. Kind of feels like what a lot of video game analysts would describe as an anti-piece. First, they introduce things in a safe environment, and then they get a little bit more involved with their puzzles, like here, where we can switch that, but also we can go around to the other side and fight a Birdman.
That's that thing. Let's move out.
Okay, Joshua gets a level, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I feel like I'm not going to activate that just yet. Because the puzzles are going to get a little more involved, and once again, these rats are just obsessed with those crates.
Not bad.
We're starting to get to the point where the enemies aren't giving a huge amount of experience, though, and that's probably a sign that we're getting close. Yeah, see, if I had activated that switch earlier, I wouldn't have been able to get this chest now. Zerum powder, which is great. Back for more items. What am I, a shop? I kind of like to see a shop that's in a chest at some point. But yeah, like, this wouldn't have really served much practical purpose either. So yeah, don't always flip the switches the first time you see them. And Shara levels up. What was I saying about not getting a lot of experience in these enemies? So yeah, let's head through here now. And we have another one of these bridges. The layout of this place seems a little confusing at this point, but it does get, like, but you kind of, yeah, another one of these bridges that if we'd activated one of those switches earlier, then we wouldn't have been able to cross here. ID card 2. After cleaning the inside, you decide to polish the outside as well. Always got to maintain your treasure chests. And through here, okay, yes, now we need a switch flipped, so now we have to go back. But yeah, here's the interesting part though, if we do flip a switch though, we won't be able to get over here. So we actually need to find that side first. Oh, actually wait, we already found that side, so yeah. This is one of those cases where if you'd flip this early, then if you'd go here, and then you wouldn't be able to get across. So that was sort of a trap. And then with that flipped, then, yeah, you can't even get anywhere from there. This part of the song's pretty nice. Oh, okay, so now we need to flip a switch to get over here. And to do that, we would do this. And then from here, we take the long way around. And now we can cross here. Turn that power on. Which I believe we would have needed the ID card too to do, but we've already got that. And, yep, that leads us to the way to the next floor. However, I think we're getting close to the dark rooms. Oh, yep, it's the dark room. Okay, so, I'm gonna save now. If you are going for the no running from 300 battles thing, you should definitely save before you go into the dark rooms. Because if you get into a fight in a dark room, your only option is to run. And of course, that will ruin your playthrough for getting that achievement. So, there's also an enemy in this room. So, yeah, depending on my luck, I might have to just reload, and there's nothing I can really do about it. Yep, see? I actually have to reset now. Because my only option is to run. If I hug the top? Yeah, at times I'm actually very confused on how you're expected to get past this thing. The thing is, I don't remember ever having much trouble with this on my first playthrough. Oh, I can kind of see it there, just in that light. Okay. Yeah, it is moving back and forth. Oh boy, that's really tricky. Ah! Okay, I got past it, and that means I save again. Because now, my main aim is to, as quickly as possible... Night goggles! I'm safe! This is not what it looks like! Well, I don't think there's much else that night goggles can look like, but yeah, the night goggles. As long as you have these equipped on at least one character, then... I like Tita having the long barrel too, but I suppose I can give them to her here. So, as long as you have this equipped on at least one character, you are able to fight in dark rooms. And that means that we are safe from having to reset. Let me just quickly check my notebook to make sure that I don't have any... Yep, fled, still 0. Good. But yeah, now that we have these, we still need to be careful, but... You are allowed to do things besides flee if you get into a fight now. And turning the power on here activates the lights, which means we don't need to worry at all. Haven't actually used Death Scream yet. Also, haven't actually used Heaven's Kiss yet. Haven't actually used Foxtail yet either. Yeah, here's where Heaven's Kiss can be... Well, in every case, Heaven's Kiss is extremely good. But here especially, because Heaven's Kiss lets you basically just insta-cast any arts you want. And in this case, it's Death Scream. Now, Death Scream, I find, is actually... It's an art that I relied on a bit too much in my SC playthrough. It's kind of like a crutch art, because it hits everything on the field and has a slight chance of instant death. It's very easy to just use this on everything, but it's actually not very strong and very inefficient for its EP cost and cast time in terms of its overall damage. Dark Matter EX is actually a much better deal when it comes to damage for EP and overall effect. But Death Scream, it's easy to get complacent with it because it hits everything on the field. It's reasonably easy to get on your augment setup as well. All you really need is just a bunch of speed ports and EP Cut 4 and EP 4. So I'll probably be using Death Scream a little bit, but I want to try and avoid it. Avoid relying on it as much as I did my SC playthrough, though. Because again, like, it's actually not that good. Of course, I no longer need to use the night goggles here. But I do here. Yep, let's just go through here. I love these little archways made out of the containers, though. I just think that's really cool. A lot of these rooms have multiple different exits to them, though, and you'll want to scour around these places because you'll need to go for all of the... If you want all the chests, you'll need to search every nook and cranny. Courier Balm. Your luscious locks of hair are nothing compared to my lovely locks of steel. That just makes me think of someone with metal hair. Like, not like as in the hair of someone in a metal band, I mean like actually hair made of metal, and that would be really cool. Would also be very heavy, though. But anyway, this is one of those rooms I do feel like it's very easy to miss some of the exits and accidentally miss chests, so I'm going to have to be sure to kind of scour everything here carefully. Okay, we need to find a switch to open that door. Yes, overall I actually think this dungeon is pretty decent. I do really hate that first dark room, though. That fight there is supposed to be there to teach you how combat works in dark rooms. The fact that your only option is to flee, and that you automatically get blind status. But here's the thing, as long as one person has night vision goggles, the others can still cast arts, and like arts don't care if you're blinded because they'll always hit. But it's just, it's that 300 battles without fleeing thing that just makes it such a pain, because this clearly was not designed with that in mind, like, at all. The fact that if you run into a single fight without the night vision goggles, you have instantly ruined your chances of getting that reward. It's just a huge pain. And again, something that I feel like the designers probably should have thought about a little bit more thoroughly before they, made that room. Oh, okay, yeah, this is actually a, an archway. Moon glasses. I'm gonna have to start charging at this rate. Yeah, those unfortunately don't let you see in these dark rooms. I also love the whole night vision goggles aesthetic of these rooms too. It's just, again, I've said my piece on it. I just wish that first dark room was handled a little differently. And now, no more dark room. I think that might actually be the last dark room of this dungeon, too. Oh, yeah, speaking of dark rooms and dungeons, that just makes me think of, early Shin Megami Tensei games had some, like, they were really brutal with dark rooms. Okay, actually, wait, no, there might be, is there one more? Is there gonna be one more dark room? No, we are already at the next floor. And on this floor, oh, okay, the gimmick here is the steam from the hot springs back in Trails in the Sky, SC's second chapter. But, yeah, because of that, I can afford to get rid of these night goggles now. Well, let's just heal up a little bit. But yeah, no more of those bridges here, just, these, steam jets that will damage you, if you stay inside them. I do need to keep fighting things here because of Tita. Oh yeah, Foxtail. So I can't even use Foxtail. Okay, Tita's getting close to another level, but I do need to set Shera a little bit further forward in terms of tactics because I want to show off Foxtail. So I kind of promised that I would. Because it's a very interesting art, but it's also sad for a certain reason that we'll get into in a moment. Okay, here we go. So, Preemptive Attack. Josh will just get a Supreme Dual Strike on this thing. Okay, so, Foxtail. Foxtail is a stealing attack. So, poor Josette even when she gets a niche of her own, a better party member comes along later who also has that same niche. But the really interesting thing about Foxtail is it's weak in terms of damage, but at least it does do damage. And it only has 5 delay. Like, if you look at all these other things that Shara can do, they're going to delay her much, much more. But Foxtail has one of the lowest delays of any craft in the game. Which means that if you buff Shara's strength, or maybe even give her the Tiger Eye, spamming Foxtail is a viable option for dealing damage. Like, it's probably not the best use of Shara's turns. But, like, as you can see, like, look at this. She can actually really get some good spam going if she has a lot of speed. Like, look at that. Okay, she's missing a lot now, though. But yeah, like, it still does damage sometimes, and of course she's out of CP now, but yeah, it doesn't matter as much damage as a regular attack too, if you look at it. So yeah, like I said earlier in this dungeon, this is a game where there are a lot of tactics that are viable, so like definitely go ahead and experiment. Like what I'm using for boss fights and for dungeons, definitely not the limit of what you can do in this game, so I encourage you to try out everything you can. Okay then, we are already at the boss of this place. But before that, we're gonna run over here. And we're gonna wait for that rat to turn around. But he didn't want to turn around. Well, we're gonna get fully restored on CP soon anyway from the spring, so... Have I been shown Satellite Beam before? Yes, this still works in Phantasma. In fact, it's actually perfectly logical that this works in Phantasma, but we won't get into why until a little later in the story. In fact, it's probably more logical that works in Phantasma than it working in the real world. But that is actually slightly weaker than Cannon Impulse F, so I prefer to use Cannon Impulse F, but it looks cooler at least. That's probably gonna go. Come on, come on. Actually, wait, we're gonna heal soon anyway. Silver Earring Plus? I thought we could be friends. Yes, I guess, yeah, stealing the items out of a treasure chest is usually a barrier to being friends with that chest in the future. Is anybody else close to leveling up right now? Tita's 109. Yeah, we're probably not gonna get any other levels before the boss. Okay, so before the boss fight, I'm going to be moving Shara back a little bit. Maybe a little closer, though, because... Yeah, Foxtail is actually pretty interesting. I can see somebody making a good setup involving Foxtail. With speed buffs, you could probably just keep spamming that on enemies as long as you have CP. Check through our maps, I think we have everything in this dungeon. There's actually surprisingly not a lot of chests in this place, even though it feels pretty long. So, I could change up my orbments a bit, but I think I'm going to see how I do against this next boss with what I have. I definitely have information, don't I? Yeah, I've got Heaven's Eye. Okay, let's go.